Hello, welcome to Simone TV Table Talk with Marche and Simone. So what's our topic going to be today, Marche?
All right, Miss Simone. So we're going to be talking about the topic of my ministry won't look like what the church is preaching.
My. Okay, so I remember when I first started mentoring with kids and doing different things like that. And I wanted some of the church people to reach out to the kids. But they felt because some of the kids were financially disadvantaged, they didn't want them in their house. And I was like, wow. So what I can do is I won't be there either.
Exactly.
So expound on what that means to you. My ministry won't look like what the church is preaching.
I feel like it's exactly what you explained so beautifully in your story. Because what happens is in churches, they have this one-size-fit-all idea or ideology.
One size fit all.
Yeah. So if you don't fit in this, then you're doing it wrong. And so for me, even being called the cussing Christian is laughable. It's like I'm just here to mess up your theology of what a Christian should look like. A Christian shouldn't look like somebody who's perfect, never sins, always says their prayers.
Right.
But it should look like somebody who, when Jesus was amongst the living, he was walking with and looking for. Because he hung out with thugs. So people that were rough around the edges, and he hung out with them because they were honest about who they were.
Okay.
And they weren't hiding. And it was visible that they needed his help. And so if we're hiding or we're pretending to be something that we're not, then how can he help us?
So, I think a lot like when the older people be going through things and but we don't know that as the young people, and it's like I admire this person or I admire this other person, and nobody sits down and talk to us about maybe the young person that's promiscuous.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be a reason for that versus just talking about them and giving them scripture and telling them you shouldn't do this because of the Bible. They kind of need some kind of structure format to walk out of that thing.
Yeah, they need some support. And as people who are a little older, it's our duty, I feel like, to reach back and support our youth, opposed to shaming them. Like, oh, you do something that I don't understand, or you stuck in a sin that I've never experienced, so you a bad person, or you this. And it's like, but what about your mama or your sister, or somebody that you know that's in that same sin, and here you are condemning somebody. First of all, it's one Jesus, and it ain't you.
Well, what about right now, I am dealing with a lot of the young people dealing with molestation. And so when those things happen, there's a lot of self-inflicted torment that they put on themselves because they think it's their fault. And where are they to go to talk about these things? Even our young men that are being violated, there's nowhere for them to go have that conversation.
For real though, and you're right. Especially when they, think that they can. They probably don't even think about, let me go talk to this church person. Because they're already thinking that if I tell them, they're going to give me a scripture to quote or recite or hide in my heart. And it's not to say that there's something wrong with scripture, but what about humanity? Well, what about being there?
And what about, let's fast forward, they grow up and they're grown people and they are living with their boyfriends or, you're living with your girlfriend. And maybe these are the things that they saw growing up, and instead of us judging them, we can kind of just love them into a better place. What do you think?
I think that's exactly it. Because something that I've learned in my 30 years, because my theology and my just relationship with God was different in my younger 20s. I figure like, oh, if I'm not this kind of person, then God is not going to love me. But at 30 now, I've come to conclude God made me exactly like this. And so I need to bring whatever I have going on to him. And so I'm going to listen to others that he's put in my place and in my life to help me. But I'm not going to be listening to the critical whoever's that just want to judge us and like make us feel lower than low so they feel better. And so I feel like with our youth, we have to have the same mentality. Like only Jesus knows where you're going when this life is over. I don't know. It's not for me to tell you, well, you wrong because you do this, that, and the third. I am not your judge. Like you got one judge, and his name is not Marche. And so I feel like we have to give people permission to be wherever they are. And if they ask for some support, then we support them. But we don't need to be given unsolicited advice or I think you should such and such. Nobody asked you. Like be there to love on them. Like Just be a supportive whatever. Be whatever they're asking you to be in that time, and if you can't be, just be gone. Because you're causing more harm than good, especially to these babies. Like our kids, they need us, and they repel from just people who are quick to tell them, you need to do such and such. Hey, how about just be a listening ear? Give them a hug or something, or figure out why they're doing what they're doing instead of telling them to not do it. It just confuses me so much.
Because I know in some instances, my people I went to elementary with, they weren't taught how to clean a house. So like sometimes they stank. And when you visit a house, smell like, urine and things like that. And my mother would always say, let's just pray for them, never judge them. And even in today, how they have overcome some of that, and then how there has been, it just exploded. We were like, well, what happened to such and such? What happened to such and such? Well, what happened was there was a grandfather that was molesting his daughters that leaked into the kids and to the grandkids. So when the son got married, he abused his stepdaughter, and then we didn't know that the sisters had been abused by their aunts and some of the. You see what I'm saying? But when you open and explore all of that, we can stop it from going down to the generation, because sometimes the kids take the abuse so it doesn't go to the younger kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And different things like that. And so we don't know where all of that comes from. So we have to love on them.
Right.
Can you expound on that?
Yeah, I love how you said, like, we don't know where it comes from. And we aren't asking enough questions to get to the root. Okay. And so there are two ways that people attempt to heal. One, they don't get to the root. They're just like, okay, I'm just going to, this is the issue, and this is how I'm going to deal with it. But they continue to just mask the root of it. But if we get to the root to identify, okay, this is your problem, but it's not just your problem. It's probably a generational issue. Okay. So if you allow us to, let's just get to the root, baby girl or baby boy. And first, let's normalize the fact that this is not your fault. Okay. Like, we all stuck in some type of sin or are in a sin that we're trying to be freed from. So let's figure out, like, where did this start? So, because if we get to the root, then we can figure out how to undo this, because it is a generational curse. But if we don't get there, then we're not going to be able to fully heal and then change the generational lineage of our families.
And that's the power of forgiveness. Because a lot of my associates and I, our parents were divorced, or we just grew up without a father. And so we are overachievers. We are literally overachievers, because we wanted to be noticed. Hey, we're doing good. That type of thing going on. And then some people, it doesn't take all that. Well, it takes all that for us, because we're trying to get the attention of our fathers. And in their absence, how powerful they made us.
Come on, can you say that again?
In their absence, how powerful that they made us. Because you showed me how to stand. You showed me that no matter what happens, no excuses. I can be an overcomer. So you gave me the gift of how to be successful, because we can't be defeated. Because see, we were already defeated when you weren't there raising us.
Come on,
we were already defeated when you weren't at the baseball game or the swimming meet, or when I got my award. We were already defeated.
Come on.
We were already defeated when we saw them with their mama and their daddy, and I didn't have my mama and my daddy, and I was wondering where you was at. Maybe you might be in the audience and I didn't see you. We were already defeated. Right. So we could no longer, there was no fear. So we were like, you know what? We're going for it. We're going to be, great students in college. We're good at whatever we put our grind to. We have no fear of failure, because we were already failed. So from here it's just going up. Now, would you agree to that? We have a live audience here. Would you agree to that, Gina?
Yes.
Tell us, like, what strength you got out of your father not being around.
Just like you said, overachieving, making sure I was the first in my family to get a bachelor's degree. And then I turned around, went back to school, and got my master's degree.
Honors too, honors.
And just being an overachiever, because it was like, okay, well, what did I do wrong?
Right, what did I do wrong?
Where's my dad?
Yeah.
Does he not care about me? And so it was like, okay, well, I got to focus on my education and studying and learning and be the best person that I can be.
Right. Because maybe he might see you.
Come on now.
Maybe he may acknowledge how good you are.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. See, these are my friends.
Yeah, let's talk about that, though. Like, I feel like that's so real, like, just seeking that acknowledgement. I can remember 2 instances in my life. One is, like, very recent. The other was when I was in college, undergrad. I remember calling my dad, both of them, Step and Real. And I was just like, and I'm from Miami. I was raised in Houston, so I'm a long way from home in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Right.
So if I don't have my family here, nobody.
Right.
So I thought for sure, my dad's, we're both doing pretty well.
Right.
I remember just crying on the phone, like, hey, like, I just need such and such.
Right.
And my mom was doing the best she can. She's always been there for me, and to support me. And when I hung up the phone, there was no support whatsoever. It was just like listening to me complain about not having money to eat.
Yeah.
But still being unwilling to solve that problem. So I hung up the phone and I was like, all right, Marche, you can figure it out. So Shay figured it out. So that was one instance. And the most recent was when my mom flew to Miami, because that's my girl. In spite of the trauma, like, I can always depend on my mama. Tupac said it best.
He did.
That's one of my songs.
Dear
so
Mama.
Exactly. That's my girl. So she flew to Indianapolis, like, got me furniture and just bent over backwards.
Right.
Like, rented a U-Haul, put all the stuff in the U-Haul, like a 3-person moving people, and my mama the main person doing it.
Right.
And so I remember my mom she told me what she wanted to do. She wanted to, buy furniture, buy beds, all this stuff she wanted to do.
Right.
And so my dad said that he was going to buy the washer and dryer, right? And so there have been times where he's been given an opportunity to do stuff, but every time it's time to do stuff, he gone.
Right.
Or he's going missing. And so I remember I was in the car with my mom. We in the U-Haul. She driving, doing her thing, and I'm just looking, handling my business on the phone. And I was like, Mom, like, I don't understand, like, why every time he wants to do something, like, I give him the opportunity and then he doesn't. Or he just disappears.
No follow through.
Just disappears. And he was like, and my mama told me, and it was so beautiful. She was just like, baby, like, I think he just wants you to need him. And you don't.
Oh, okay.
And you don't. And I was like, I ain't needed him since. He ain't really been there like that. You showing up for me I can count on one hand. And but it's all right. The grind prepared me for this, and my mama prepared me for this, and my mama showed me how to get it, even if you're not giving me anything. And the come up is still very much for you. Like, look what God has done for me.
So, Gina, have you had those experiences too? Share one of your experiences with us, where you were, you gave your father an opportunity to be a blessing to you, and it's like it was Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Well, for him, because he's in another state.
Okay.
So, I mean, when I finally found my dad, I was getting ready to graduate with my master's degree at that point.
Okay.
So I really haven't needed him
for
anything.
Okay.
Mainly just, if something's going wrong.
Yeah.
Talk to him about it, but he's been able to be a listening ear. But
that's good.
By the time I reconnected with him, I was already in my 30s. So it was just like,
I'm grown now. Hey, we can have a grown adult relationship.
We talk, have a conversation. So I mean, as far as talking and conversation, that's mainly what we do at this point. And, but other than that, I don't ask for anything.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Just to have an ear to hear.
Yeah, because I remember telling my father, he was like, girl, you're strong. I said, let me tell you something. Though I'm strong, I still need you.
Facts. I
need your conversation. I need to hear you answer me. I need to watch you and how you live your life, because that tells me who I am.
Yeah.
I need to hear the small comments when you're giving me praise, when you are lifting me up, because I'm your girl. I need all of that confirmation as a young woman. And so those daddies are important.
Yeah, they are.
And when you don't have an earthly one, you sure can have a heavenly one.
I love that. And you're right. And I just love how you, like, lifted up dads. because I'm just so thankful for my daughter's dad.
Oh, girl, I'm so crazy about my daddy.
Yeah, and like
I look just like him, girl. He can't deny me. Don't you deny me, Lavelle.
That's the real one.
Yeah.
Though. But for me, like I love my dad, but never having had that relationship, just like that daughter dad relationship. I never had that. But seeing my daughter, and that was one of my main prayers.
Yeah.
Becoming a mom, choosing to have a child.
Right.
Like, Lord, I just want my daughter to have a good relationship, with her dad, and just seeing he goes hard for her, like. That's his girl. And just to see their connection and just, Mommy, I just want to be with daddy, or I want to hang. And it's just like, that's all I ever wanted as a mom.
Right.
And I feel like sometimes, and this is something that people need to talk about too, sometimes moms get in the way of the relationship with the child and the dad.
Okay.
Whether y'all worked out or not, it ain't none of your business. Like, give them the opportunity, for real, give them the opportunity to have the relationship required, whether it's a girl or a boy.
Right.
Like, and I know my daughter needs that relationship with her dad. Because she can, like you said, she can find her identity in her dad. Like, I'm going to cheer her up all the time. You beautiful, you this, you that. But it just hits different.
Oh, my God. When he say baby.
I love your hair.
Oh,
which he does. Like, you are so beautiful, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And her confidence is attached to what her daddy thinks about her.
Right.
And so I feel like as people, especially our people, we got to get out the way. Like, whether y'all working it out or not working it out or hate each other, get out of the way of the dad to daughter, dad to son relationship, because they need to have something, especially if they're ready, willing, and able.
Okay.
And my daughter's dad will bend over backwards for a lay. Wherever I'm at in the world, all right, I'm coming to get her.
Right.
Or whatever you need. Like, all about that baby. And I'm just so thankful, for that relationship that they have and the fact that we can co-parent effectively.
Absolutely.
And not get in the way of their relationship.
Absolutely. Wow. So you guys heard it from Marche and Simone today. We're glad that you guys spent time with us. This is our table talk. Just talking about relationships today, and we were talking about our fathers being in our lives and when they came in our lives and the different levels of relationships that you'll have with your dads. Anyway, we thank you for spending time with us here on Simone Table Talk, and we will see you at the next Simone Table Talk. Marche and Simone, we're out.